Good afternoon, everybody. Ryan Perry here with Sarah Giametti, and it is week 2 of the SEO. I got conference stuck in my head, but we're talking about SEO, and specifically today we're going to talk about keyword research and competitive market space for small business owners that want to be found locally. Good afternoon, Sarah.
Hi, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing okay. If my voice sounds a little off today, it's because I was at the dentist about 2 hours ago. I thought I was just getting a cleaning, but they actually did some work and they had to numb both sides of my mouth. It's feeling better. I don't sound like Elmer Fudd. I almost couldn't pronounce that because my tongue is still just a little bit numb. But other than that, life is good.
Great. You definitely do sound better than you did an hour ago. So
That is good. So for everybody out there that's new to the show, which may be one or two of you, simply because we just started this show last week, and Sarah and I both have our own digital marketing agencies. We came together collectively in order to educate people, specifically small business owners, on really how to get the most value out of marketing, because there's so much information. It's really overwhelming. There's a lot of experts and gurus out there, and we decided that we wanted to help small business owners out by actually not just giving you information, but also providing actionable steps, including the tools that we actually use. So at the end of these live seminars that we do, you can actually take action. There's also, you can download the PDF of the presentation that we're going to be using. So we want to give you as much information as you need to be successful. And Sarah, today we are specifically going to talk about keyword research and something I don't think a lot of people are familiar with, which is competitive analysis.
right. And we want to make sure that that you have something that you can take away and put in your business. And if you miss week 1, definitely go back and watch that as the foundation for your SEO work that you're going to implement in your business. Then watch that and then come back for this one if you haven't seen it, or after our show's over, go watch it. But the competitive analysis is something that a lot of businesses miss, is they don't look and see what the competition is already doing to see if it's relevant for their business and if they should not reinvent the wheel and actually compete with the business. Or it also helps you align if you're way out in left field and you don't realize it. It'll help bring you back into something that is relevant to your future customers.
Yeah, and the other place I like to use competitive analysis with clients is people that are on a tight budget, is really understanding, okay, depending on your budget, how are we going to get value out of your marketing dollars? If you're willing to spend $500 a month and you want to play in a space that requires $2,000 a month, it's really good to know that up front. Do the research up front so that when you spend $500, you can actually get a return on it. If you're spending $500 in a place where you need to spend $2,000, you're never going to make an impact, and so you're just throwing money away. And I think for small business owners, that's really, really important, because one of my buddies, Mike, likes to use the phrase hope marketing, where, if I just throw money out there, I hope that some of it will stick and I'll get a new client. You got to do the research. But let's go ahead and jump into keyword research, because I know the both of us can just keep on going and going on some of these conversations.
So we want to, with your keyword research, you want to see what your potential customers are actually talking about and what they're looking for. One of the problems that a lot of business owners find is they're using industry jargon. They're using keywords and phrases that we use because we know our industry really, really well. But the end user they most likely don't have that same terminology or wording. And so the research really will help you figure out how popular a certain keyword is, how competitive it is, and how to rank well on Google for it, and see if you're out in left field because nobody's searching for that phrase because it's industry specific and you don't know it if you're not in the industry.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other thing is with keyword research is also understanding what a long tail keyword is. Back in the early days of SEO, we pretty much just went right after whatever that specific keyword is. Today, we want to go with long tail. And so typically a single keyword such as dentist is going to be more difficult to actually rank for versus maybe going for dentist in plus a city or the best dentist. And these are considered long tail because it's a couple of keywords that actually make up the phrase. And there's a lot of different ways that people are searching for keywords, especially with the advent of this fancy little device here, where we're going Siri or OK Google, and we're actually speaking into the way we're searching is literally changing, because when we type, we want to be short. Typically, people are very short and direct with what they're looking for. When we're talking now, we're actually using completed sentences.
Right. And so you want to make sure you want to answer questions. And so you start with a short keyword phrase. You, as Ryan talked about, you go into the long tail keywords, and then you start getting into asking the questions. Because think about how you use Siri or Google. Say, Google, how do I bake a banana bread? And so you're asking a question. You want to make sure that your keyword phrases, and as you build your content, answers those questions that people are actually asking.
Yeah, and we're going to dive into some of the tools. So if you're trying to figure out, oh, okay, well, how do I do this keyword research? We're going to dive into a number of different tools that we actually use in order to do it. Right now, we just want to kind of get you to understand some of the basics of what you want to pay attention to when you're doing keyword research. And one of the other key elements for local business, now this is specifically for, let's say, a dentist, and they just have the one office. And that is called geo-targeting. That is specifically picking the cities that you want to be found for. When you're doing Google, when you want to be found by Google, Google is all about relevancy. If you're not relevant, I'm searching for dog care, dog groomer, a dentist should not pop up. The same thing is relevant with location. If I'm looking for a dentist in Santa Rosa, California, as an example, and your office happens to be in Windsor, which is the next city north, Google says there's no relevancy there because you're in Windsor. However, we can change that by including Santa Rosa into the website. And there's a lot of different, I'll call it advanced SEO techniques that you can use in order to do that. But part of understanding your competition is making sure that you're not Googling, you're not checking for dentist on a national level, because now you're competing against 1-800-DENTIST as an example. You want to target locally in Santa Rosa as an example and see who your competitors are there.
And in doing this research, and especially the geo-target, you can see the search volume and see if it's worth your time and effort. But keep in mind that if you're using a long tail keyword phrase, the search volumes are going to tend to be lower, but that's okay, because that means that person is that much closer to the end of the buying cycle. And so if you're finding a search volume of 10, think about if those are 10 high quality potential customers, how great would it be in your business if you got 5 of those 10 people from that one keyword phrase? So don't think that a search volume of 10, don't immediately wipe it off the table. You might want to investigate a little bit more to see if it's trending, to see if other, who's coming up of your competition for that keyword phrase, because that might be 10 really high quality searches that could turn into customers relatively quickly.
Right. And if you can get 10 different keyword phrases that are 10 each, that's 100 a month. And a lot of times, a lot of small business owners don't understand long tail keyword. And so they're not going for those. They're just going for dentist. And that's all they're focused on, or teeth whitening as an example. And there's a lot of meat left on the plate when you do that. Let's move into actual keyword research. So, where do we start with keyword research? And what I always like to start with is just brainstorming. So as a business owner, what are some tips or techniques that they can use in order to brainstorm ideas?
Right. So we'll stick with dentist. you want to pick these vertical categories that match your business. And so dentist would be one, and the vertical category is dentist. Then we'll find the things under dentist that we would add to, and then what are one of your top services that your patients or customers want to look for, like teeth whitening. Because once you have those top level vertical keywords, then you can start going into, what does the client want? What are they asking for in answering questions? So, and go into the who, what, when, where, why, how, answer all of those questions for that particular vertical topic. And that's the brains. You can do it in columns. You can do it in kind of a brain cloud where it's in the middle and you're coming up with all the different phrases. Think about, and start listening to your patients when they come in. Have your staff listening to what the customers, how they're wording it, how they're asking questions, and use that as part of your research and your brainstorming.
Yeah, and we're actually going to, down below in the description, you can actually click the link on this video, and there is a spreadsheet that we're going to share with you where you can actually put all of this information in, and we'll collectively show you how you bring all this information together. And then the next thing to do is, once you actually brainstorm and you have some ideas, and the big one that I think a lot of business owners don't think about is your clients or your prospects. And that's why I always like to go, who's answering the phone? What type of questions are they answering? Those are the type of questions that you want to put out, because more than likely people are actually searching the web for those specific keywords. And the next place you can test this out to see if it's actually relevant is actually just open up a browser, go to Google, and start typing in, dentist near, and Google has the autofill at the very top, and it'll start typing in suggested keywords based on predictive text. So it already has an idea, because it's collecting the information of what everybody's typing in. It has an idea of what you're going to type in based on everybody else in your area. The second thing you can do, and Sarah, can you bring up a screen share real quick? Just open up Google first before you screen share it. So there's the predictive text, and then also down at the very bottom of the page is the some additional ideas.
Screen share, there it is.
Sorry, everybody. I put her on the spot. This was not planned.
Well, I'm single.
Oh, you got a single screen, don't you?
So here, we're on Google, or you can just be up on, up here on the URL here to start typing in. But if I start typing in, best teeth. So now you can start, these are predictive text, what people are asking for. And so, we'll stick with the dentist theme. You can take these examples as content or keyword phrases that you might want to search for, and plug them into some of the tools we're going to show you in a little bit, and plug them in to see what the search range is and what the search volume is and competitiveness, and see if there are things that you want to answer for your clients.
Yeah, and based on is that relevant to the type of client that you actually want? Can you actually pull up the best teeth whitening, and then let's scroll down to the actual bottom of the page?
So we'll bring up best teeth whitening, and then down all the way down to the bottom, it gives you other suggestions of related searches that people have done. And so this is even more information that you can plug into your potential keyword phrases.
All right, perfect. So that's one of the very first places you can go, is just Google where you're actually at in the very first place. There's also Google Trends, and I think we show Google Trends in another slide, so we can just go ahead and jump in that. And then the other thing that we have is this tracking form that we've been talking about. Let me get that set up for you on my side, and I'll show everybody what this tracking form looks like. This is the one that you can actually download. I blew it up. I zoomed in really close on it so that we could easily see it. And essentially what you're going to do is take the information. Let me see. Oh, I don't have the fancy thing because I'm not in the presentation. But what you would do is you'd put in whatever the keyword phrase is, The volume, this is the information that you're actually going to get from a keyword tool such as Keyword Finder. That's going to tell you this is what the search volume is. Then I always like to find the top local competitor. So I'll actually do a Google search, or I'll use one of the tools. A couple of the different tools have some competition. And I want to know what page do they rank for. A lot of times you'll end up with Yelp as an example. I do not consider Yelp a local competitor. They are competitive on the Google search, but they're not another dental shop. And so if a lot of times when I do keyword research, here's the local competitor, they may actually be ranked number 3. And then one of the softwares that I like to use, Traffic Travis, will automatically give you difficulty ranking. So I put that in. And when you fill out this information and you kind of go down and maybe you've got 10 or 15 different keywords, it gives you an overall view. And this is why I really like this spreadsheet. It gives you an overall view. What's the volume like? Where do I want to spend my money? Do I keep on seeing the same local competitor popping up here and there? If the answer is yes, then they're doing something right, and they're somebody I want to check on and see what they're doing. And how consistent is the ranking? Is Yelp getting in there all the time? So are they ranked number 1, number 2, number 3? And then based on software telling me difficulty ranking will let me know, oh, okay, well, geez, this one's going to be really hard, or this one's easy. Maybe I'll start with the easy one first. And Sarah jumps in with some really smart, I don't know what.
Yeah, you know, I was following along. I'm like, oh, you're right.
I was doing a great job, wasn't I?
Having that list, you can sort the different columns by your competitors' rankings, by the search volume, and start just filling that out to see what starts to make sense for your business, because you're going to use this research for a lot of different things. You're going to use it not only for your on-page SEO, but it's also a valuable tool for coming up with a content strategy moving forward. So you want to make sure you spend some time on doing this research, see who's coming up. And like Brian said, if you're seeing the same competitor come up a lot for a lot of the keyword phrases you're looking at, you might want to look and see what else that they're doing and see if you can model some of what they're doing to come up and compete. So definitely spend the time and do the keyword research properly and put the effort into it, because it's really going to be the foundation of all the SEO that you're going to do moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's go ahead and let's start talking about some of the tools that are out there. I'll get the screen share going again, and let's talk about Keyword Planner. This is directly from Google. You can actually log in directly to Google. This used to be my favorite tool, one, because it was free. I already have a Google account, so that's okay. The problem is today the information is not accurate. I used to tell people, why would you go anywhere else? Just go straight to the horse's mouth and get the information. Today, Google is kind of, they're not giving accurate information unless you pay. If you're an actual pay-per-click client and you're paying a monthly fee for advertising on Google, then they will give you accurate information. How accurate or inaccurate the information that Google's providing, I don't know. Regardless, I always took it with a grain of salt, in the sense that it's a reference tool. Ultimately, I always want to rely on my own information that I'm collecting, but it's a good place to start.
And you can set up an AdWords account without actually setting up budget to spend money to do this research. And it just uses one of a few different tools to check the research and see what's coming up and check your keyword list. And so it's just another tool in your pocket. But you can check local, the geo-targeting. You check local versus national versus international. And you can export the information into a CSV, which can be opened into Excel. So it is useful to start there, but it might not be the best, more accurate, especially if you're on a time crunch. This might not be the best place to start for you. But if you have the time to use more than one tool, then definitely use this as part of your entire research.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I like about Google Keyword Planner is the fact that you can actually search by website. So if you're not sure where to start, you can always plug your own website in, and you can also plug in your competitor's website and see what they're doing, which can be very powerful. Sarah already talked about when you're doing search, if you're trying to find locally, let's say I just want to know what the search is in Sonoma County, you want to refine that down and see what people are searching for locally. And this can be really relevant, and we'll talk about it in keyword trends, if the grammar or the language that people use is different by area to area. Then you also mentioned you can export the information into a CSV file and actually store it on your computer. Google Trends. So here's a great example I want to show you right now is we can do a search between attorney and lawyer, and you can see this is a given time period. This goes back to 2012 to current time, and you can see what the search volume or trend has been for each individual keyword. And this, what we're looking at right now is for the United States. We could narrow this down and go specifically to California, or specifically a state, specifically a county, and even a city. When you get too small of a search criteria, you may end up with no data. So I like big data first, and then I narrow it down and make decisions. But this is a great tool, Sarah.
It is, and you can also, if you'll notice, right below the phrases attorney and lawyer, you can see it's with the worldwide drop down, so you can narrow down your geo target. Use a laser pointer. And then the next one over, it's showing the past 5 years, which is why this graphic goes all the way back to 2012. But you can shorten that if you just want to see the last 12 months. And then you can also change categories in web search. We did a very broad overview to give you a comparison example, but you can definitely play with this with the information to see, kind of fine tune it and get it better. But where this is really handy is like we use attorney versus lawyer, single word phrase. What are people actually searching for? If you've got two different words for an industry, then this is a great way to see which one is currently in trend, uptrend, which is the more popular phrase between the two. And the attorney lawyer is a perfect example that we call them both.
Right, and the key thing for me on this is that when you're looking at keywords like this, it's not a matter of, oh, do I choose this one or this one? It's a matter of, okay, how much do I want to incorporate the word attorney into my marketing mix if I'm an attorney versus attorney lawyer. So I may go, all right, well, 70% of the time I'm going to say attorney, and the other 30% or 40% of the time I'm going to say lawyer. Now, this is an East Coast, West Coast thing. So you really want to break it down and know locally in your geographic area, geo-targeting, which one is the term that more people use. So like Sarah pointed out, these are worldwide values we're looking at. You don't want to evaluate your company on worldwide values.
Especially if you are not a worldwide company. If you are a worldwide company, fine. But most of you, we're hoping, our goal is to help local small business owners. So most of you are in a very small, specific geolocation. And so you definitely want to narrow it down to, at a minimum, your state.
Yeah, definitely. And then, so we talked about, I think we hit everything on this one. View as the search term is trending up or down. You may be dealing with a search term that's out of style. It could be a generational thing where an older generation used it and now it's switched over to something else. Again, doing the research, understanding who it is that you want to target. Geotrends. Trends by Google is definitely going to be a great tool. Let's go talk about some actual specific software that's out there that is quasi-free, free in the sense that you can test it out, such as Keyword Finder. This is one of the tools that I personally pay for. I tried the limited free version. I liked it. I said, okay, I'm going to go for it. They have some ways of extracting long tail keywords out of it, making it very easy, and also searching by questions, which I like. So I think you brought that up earlier, Sarah, was how to do something, how to bake bread or something like that. A lot of people want to know that, and that may end up resulting in a search query that leads to your business. So not everybody is just looking for a dentist, but they might start off with, well, how do I whiten my teeth? And so you need to know all these different ways that people search. How much, how to. Again, we've talked about how important location and possibly language settings also could be for your industry. They also include Google Trends on the same report. If you're going to use the Google Keyword Finder and Trends, those are two different URLs. And so you would have to collect that information separately, bring it together. With Keyword Finder, they actually put it all together on the same report. And they have competitive research, so you can find out who your top competitors are for these keywords. Boy, here's a whole can of worms that we could get into, Sarah. Desktop versus mobile. Google's really making a shift towards mobile search. Mobile search, when you go on your mobile device, where am I at here? Sorry, trying to follow the mouse. Where's it going? When you do a Google search on a mobile device, it is, and they just recently changed it. I'm not 100% sure where we're at right now. The search results you can get here can be different than your desktop.
So how Google's been doing their search is they look at your desktop site first, then look to see if you have mobile. That's how they've been to date. They're switching that because mobile searches are surpassing desktop searches, and it's just going to continue to go that way. What they've flip-flopped it where they're doing a mobile first strategy. So they go to a website, they go to look at your mobile site first, and if they can't find that, then they go to the desktop site for rankings, because so many people are using their phones and tablets are considered mobile. Even if it's not a phone, it's still considered mobile because it's a small portable device. And so this is where it goes key into making sure you have a responsive website versus a mobile, two separate sites of mobile and desktop. That was a trend for a while. I definitely recommend going away from that and just having a fully responsive site, because you have so many different screen sizes. Like on my main desk, I have two 28-inch monitors. My laptop is 15 inches, my tablet is 10, and my phone is 5.5. And with a responsive site, my site adjusts based on whatever screen size it is, and it just moves and adjusts, and you don't have to worry about anything. And it's only a single location to update content. So, but that is the change where Google is looking at the mobile version first. And so responsive just solves that problem. But you definitely want to make sure you're mobile friendly, because if you're going to put time and effort into your SEO strategy, you need to make sure Google's happy and that you are mobile.
Yeah, and more than likely, this whole trend from desktop versus mobile is going to start blending more and more, and it's not going to be a versus or an or. It's just going to be mobile, and then they'll worry about desktop second. Additionally, they have a difficulty ranking that was on that spreadsheet I showed you. So how difficult do we expect it to rank, or for you to rank on that? Social media metrics. What is your competitors doing for social media, because that is part of SEO. So understanding that if somebody's ranking #1 for a specific keyword, it may not just be their on-page optimization and the backlinks to other websites they have, but they may have a really strong social media presence, and you need to compare yourself to see how relevant you are with that. And then of course you can export files to a CSV. Moz, you're a Moz girl.
I am.
So,
I like
so
Moz.
let's talk about Moz.
These tools are all basically the same, but this is a way for you to type in it is limited free.
That was the end of the line right there.
It is limited free. You get 2 searches per day, so use them accordingly if you want to keep using the free. But this is a way to put in a single keyword or a long tail keyword phrase, see how it's working. And again, it gives you the relevancy and the volume. It gives you additional suggestions based on the phrase that you put in. And SERP is search engine ranking page. So that's the page that comes up on Google. So it gives you analysis of of how competitive, that's kind of how competitive it is. And you can export it to CSV. If you are going to be doing a ton of keyword research, you might want to look into either paying for it or another tool so you get more complete data and more ability to search in versus just 2 per day.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the cool things is that when you come onto this page, you just need to go to moz.com. All you got to do is just type something in, try it for free. Boom. It's that simple. You don't have to download anything. I probably should have mentioned that also with Keyword Finder. You can just boom, punch things in. You don't have to download software or anything like that. Very, very simple to use right out of the gate.
Right. It's software as a service. So it's all online based, nothing added to your computer or weighing your computer down, which the bonus of the software like that is you can always access it no matter where you are.
All right, great. Now let's talk about Traffic Travis. This was one of the free tools that I first started using years ago. What I love about Traffic Travis is that for the small business owner, while their interface is not the easiest to use, the information they provide is really simple. They don't get complicated. They don't bog you down with a lot of information. They give you what I feel is the real meat and potato that you need from a small business owner point of view. From an agency point of view, not so relevant, but this is where I started. This is a great tool. This is actual software. You have to download it. It's PC only. It is a free download, but it does come with some limits. However, their buy price is only $99, and that is a steal all on its own. You will not find any software. I mean, Sarah, you and I pay for software that's well over $99 a month, let alone lifetime.
You don't want to know how much I pay in software between SEO software and lead generation and social media. $99 one time forever, and you get updates is incredible seal. So if you really want to take your SEO seriously, look at this and use the free version at first to see how you like it, but definitely seriously consider just forking out the $100 because you are not going to find, even SEO Moz is more money than that, and it's a monthly service.
Yeah. The other thing, they do have keyword research. It is a little vague. Again, the only downside to the software, it is a little clunky, but once you understand how to use it, it's super simple. They have competitive research. I'm going to show you one of my favorite reports that Traffic Travis has. They have the difficulty ranking. They also include social media, and you can export to a CSV file so you can download. One of these, like the export, you're not able to do that in the free version. You have to actually buy it in order to export. So that's some of the limitations that they have on the free one. So let's talk a little bit more about competitive research and why it's important. I mean, I think it's one of the steps when small business owners get involved and they go, okay, I need to be more aggressive about my online marketing. They don't know a lot about it, and so they're just like, oh, well, I'm a dentist, so I just want to be found for dentist. That's that.
Right. And also, it's the one they think, well, I've been doing this for 10, 15 years. I know all the words that are going to be used. And a lot of business owners don't tend to take this one as seriously, but you don't know all the words that say I would use because I'm not a dentist. And a lot of people don't like to go to the dentist, so we're not around you often to hear the terminology. And so you have to find out what we are using and also see what your competition is doing and so that you're not throwing money away. So competitive research, we were joking earlier that knowledge is power, but only if you use it. But you have to have that knowledge in the first place of what your potential customers and clients and patients are actually using when searching.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the business owners, we get very narrow focused on what's important to us. And especially the more educated we become, we take for granted certain knowledge and expectations and understanding. And when you have somebody who's just moved out of their parents' house and is living on their own, and they're like, there's so much I have to figure out and worry about. that things may not come as simple to them as it relates to your industry. So a lot of times, I always talk to clients, and it's like, we need to break it down to like a kindergarten level so that people understand it. And I understand it may be a little uncomfortable for you, but we're not trying to attract other like-minded people in your industry. We're trying to attract new clients and build trust and credibility. So doing that keyword research, very important. Make sure if you're, as a small business owner, what area do you want to attract people? So understand who your competitors are. What is the keyword volume? What are the keyword phrases that people are using? Attorney versus lawyer, East Coast versus West Coast. It's really important to understand all that. Even when you get in the big cities, San Francisco, as an example, have specific neighborhoods that they're known for. You can actually geo-target by neighborhoods because people will identify with that part of the city, and they'll want to search for a restaurant in, whichever, the Presidio, as an example. So it's really about understanding your client. And when you understand what your client wants and needs, or your prospect wants and needs, then that's where you're going to have a successful online campaign.
And one of the things that we should stress too is when you're doing this research is not only what your actual competition is doing, but how competitive that keyword phrase is. So when you're doing your research, if they're telling you it is extremely difficult to rank for this keyword phrase, you probably don't want to use it, because if it's extremely difficult, it's going to take a lot of time and effort, and you're going to get frustrated. And so a great example of that is shoes. You're trying to rank for just the generic term shoes is nearly impossible unless you are a Zappos. You don't want to rank for that. But if you get, that's where the long tail keyword phrases start to help, where they're less competitive. They might not have quite as many searches, but people are closer to the end of the buying cycle when they're using more words. And so the longer the keyword phrase is, the better traffic that you're going to get for it. And so you really want to watch that difficulty level to see, if the difficulty level is really, if they say when your research says it's really easy, that means just a little bit of effort on your part. You can easily rank on the first page of Google for that keyword phrase, versus really high. It's going to be really expensive and time consuming, which is not good for a small business owner who has limited time and resources trying to do this on their own. Don't even waste your time with the extremely difficult phrases.
Yeah, and that actually leads right into the report that I want to show you from Traffic Travis, and this is their competition report. So this is one I created back in January. Right here's the keyword. So I did estate planning Petaluma. You can see the search engine. It's just checking Google. The difficulty, it says, all right, in order to rank for this keyword is going to be relatively easy. Now, one of the things that we did, this is a very generic estate planning. However, we're targeting a specific city, and this is really important. So that's one of the things. If you looked at just estate planning by itself, it would be extremely difficult because that's going to be a national search. Whereas if we target the client's actual location, it's going to be relatively easy. The other thing that I love about this report is this is your first page of search results. So I can get a really quick idea of what's going on. And when I do, let's say 10 different keywords, I'm going to have 10 different reports. I can quickly see by comparing these results which attorneys constantly show up on the first page. These are the ones that I want to be aware of. It's going to give us a lot of information that Traffic Travis talks about. They'll tell you what PA is, backlink page, backlink site average. You can get all that training there. It'll tell you the number of SERPs for that page, a lot of different information. And then we get in here, which is social media. I can start seeing how active or inactive are people. In this case, you could see the top one is active on Google, it looks like, but beyond that, it's all zero. So it gives you a really clear understanding of what's going on. And what I love about it, it's all in one piece of paper. And then I take and I'll actually take this information and put it on the Excel spreadsheet that we showed you earlier and just show the top number one local competitor in each area. So again, as I put all 10 keywords in, if I keep on seeing the same competitor showing up 2, 3, 4, 5 times, I'm like, all right, that's the guy I need to keep an eye on.
Right. And you can further investigate specifically that person's website there. You can, internet stalk them in a way in your research and look at their website, look and see what else is coming up. You can look and see what their social media looks like possibly and what they're doing for ideas for your own. Obviously, you don't want to copy a competitor, but looking at what they're doing could help trigger ideas for yourself and how to market your business and beat that competitor with the online marketing.
Yeah, so here's an example of the Excel spreadsheet that you can download from us. There's a link down below. And here you go. You pop in the keyword, you pop in the volume. This is national search volume for estate planning. Who's your top local competitor? Which position do they rank for on that first page? And then what is the ranking, or how difficult, and again, if you just keep on adding in various keywords, boom, 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 you can see how it'll paint a really nice picture of what the local competitive market space is for your area.
And this is all just foundational work. You want to just, we reiterate that we want you to just block out some time on your calendar, take the time to do this thoroughly, because it'll benefit you in the long run as you are implementing it on your website, as you are doing a content creation strategy, that you will be referencing that document for months to come. And so you definitely want to make sure you just take the time and effort and do it very thoroughly.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because this is when you implement and you have this information and it's real easy to access, it then makes it much easier for you to stay on target, because when you start going, maybe I should do this, grab that sheet and you're like, oh, wow, okay, that's an extremely competitive key phrase. Maybe I don't want to target that. Having that knowledge and using the knowledge appropriately is really going to be beneficial to your business. So make sure, I would say, check out some of the different tools. I think one of the big things when we look at tools, there's a lot of tools out there that do pretty much the same thing. It's really a matter of, oh, okay, I like Keyword Finder, you like MOZ. The information is all going to be relatively pretty much the same. It's just a matter of interfacing. This one feels more comfortable to me, so I'm going to use it. All right, use something though. Be smart about it, track it, use the documents that we're providing, download the PDF to this actual training session so you can actually click through and see all our notes. It's got extra links where you can download even more software. So use the tools that are available to you in order to get the results that you want.
Yeah, and all those software platforms that we recommend in all of our shows, pretty much all of them have a free trial. So try them all. Check them all out. See which one you like the best. See which one is giving you the information that you are really looking for. And just once you pick one, just stick with it. And because they, like Ryan said, they all do give pretty much the same information. There might be a little bit of variability with the search, volume or other suggestions. But just, try them all out, see which one you like, and then just block out the time to do a thorough analysis of this, because in next week's show, we're going to go over the foundation and where you're going to start using this research that we've had you do and the analysis from the first week, the research and competitive analysis from this week, and then we'll have you start using that as a foundation for next week. So you want to make sure you sit down and just, try them all out and pick one, throw a dart, whatever. Budget might be a factor in that as well, which one you pick. And that's okay, as long as you just do something.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to have a link in last week's show. So if you missed last week's show, make sure you check that out. Each one of these are designed to stack on top of each other. So you start out, get the foundation done, do the keyword research, and then how do we start implementing it? And then the fourth one, I believe, is going to be promotion. So there's a logical sequence that we're actually going through with these videos. Unless you have any last minute words, that is it for today's show.
I don't think so. I'd say just start doing the work, get it ready so that by the time we wrap around next week, you've got it ready to go to start doing the foundation work. And you can go back and reference the last one. We've got the PDFs for you. We've got downloads. All of that is free for you to use so that you can systematically work your way through this in little bite-sized pieces.
Yeah. All right, everybody, you've got some homework in front of you. You know, I would carve out maybe an hour to 2 hours when you have some time. Get 10 keywords. Just, you know, keep it simple. What are the top 10 keywords that you want to target? You might start off with a list of 50, narrow it down to 10, throw it in that Excel spreadsheet, know who your competitors are, and then we're going to let you know what to do with this keyword list next week. All right, Sarah, with that, I bid you adieu, and I hope you have a great week. Everybody out there, I hope you have a great week, and we will see you next week.